I think we have many difficult challenges that we are all facing. So what can you do about that using technology and changing our behaviors?
The XTC was designed to help highlight companies solving for the world's toughest challenges. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals gave us a fantastic framework. It's really a community. It incorporates big companies, universities, venture capitalists to help these companies get to where they need to go a little bit faster.
XTC is important because it is a way of organizing a vast number of great ideas and great entrepreneurs that can support each other and learn from each other and mentor.
Startups can be very fast, very free in thinking. That is very inspiring for the big companies, and therefore they bring a very nice facet to the entire game.
When you have a diverse background, that is a power. So we want to bring diversity, inclusion through our footprint and being able to show examples of success, not just here, but across many geographic areas.
Technology is a powerful enabler for positive change and for identifying solutions to challenges that the world faces.
And since XTC is based on the UN SDG goals, it really helps us gain powers to bring vision of positive change to the world.
It's a totally unique competition that brings together the world's best entrepreneurs.
It provides companies like Hillreach with a platform to be seen, to be heard, and to build relationships to help us grow around the world.
XTC 2021 was amazing. We have the opportunity of learning how to pitch to investors and get wow.
Innovation can truly happen anywhere.
It's always been the case that there are smart people all over the world. Now our job is to bring the world to them and just empower the smart people everywhere with the resources that we've always had here that you can just bring virtually through things like Zoom.
I was incredibly impressed with the energy and passion of the companies and entrepreneurs I had a chance to meet.
It's so great to see the XTC community come together to harness their energy and creativity to tackle these issues around sustainability, security, and diversity.
A global challenge leads to the global market. We want to work with entrepreneurs to solve big problems and create big business together.
Young and Bill's vision kind of catalyzing the startup community is truly being realized through the XTC competition.
Welcome to the Extreme Tech Challenge 2021 Global Finals. My name is Victoria Slivkov. I am the Executive Managing Director of XTC. Thank you for joining us from all around the world. I am so thrilled that you're here with us today. Extreme Tech Challenge is the world's largest startup competition for entrepreneurs addressing global challenges to make this world a radically better place. We provide exceptional founders with the potential for global visibility, venture investment, corporate strategic partnerships, and mentorship. The United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals has given us a great framework for organizing XTC's 7 competition tracks, and they are AgTech and Food Tech, Clean Tech and Energy, EdTech, Enabling Tech, FinTech, Health Tech, and Mobility and Smart Cities. This year, over 3,700 startups applied from almost 100 countries across 6 continents. We doubled the number of regional competitions to 21 and proudly launched XTC Africa and XTC Latin America, expanding our footprint to some of the most exciting tech ecosystems across the world. Over 300 VC and corporate innovation judges narrow our application pool to 80 global finalists. And today, we will showcase the exceptional category winners and the special award winners who emerged from this rigorous evaluation process. This year's special awards were chosen to highlight topical tech trends, promote diversity, and align with current events. They are COVID-19 Innovation and Female Founder Awards continue from last year, as well as 2 new awards, Ethical AI and People's Choice, which was determined by public voting. Today, these startups will pitch to a panel of world-leading investors and corporate leaders. And at the end, we will announce which one startup will be crowned global winner of the Extreme Tech Challenge 2021. In addition to showcasing some of the world's most innovative startups, we will also feature investor panels discussing key trends in sustainability. Talk to us throughout the program by using the hashtags XTC2021 and NextGenXTC via social media. Finally, to learn more about the entire cohort of XTC 2021 Global Finalists, please head to our website at extremetechchallenge.org. These purpose-driven startup founders are looking for partners who can help them scale their impact. And now, let's get started with a chat with XTC co-founders Young Sung and Bill Tai. Please enjoy the program. I am so pleased to be here today with XTC co-founders Young Sung, chairman of the board at Harman International and founding managing partner at Walden Catalyst. Young is a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, investor, and corporate leader who has built and exited billion-dollar businesses. And Bill Tai, partner emeritus at Charles River Ventures and one of the most successful angel investors of our time with 22 IPOs under his belt. Hi, Young. Hi, Bill. Nice to see you both here. It's so great to kick off XTC 2021 Global Finals with you.
Great to see you, Victoria.
Excited to be here.
Great. I feel like this is a great time to talk about purpose-driven tech innovations. And as we've seen from the recent pandemic, technology has been transformative in creating new solutions and opportunities. And innovation is happening at a faster pace. You've both worn many, many hats as successful VCs, entrepreneurs, and corporate executives, and have seen the evolution of tech over the last 3 decades. So I want to start right here. What would you say are the next waves of tech innovation breakthroughs that you're most excited about? Let's go to Young first.
I think we are in the 5th wave of technology innovation curve. And the first could be the mainframes in 60s that improved our productivity for government and others. And then you've seen mini computers that enabled enterprise to be productive. And then personal with the internet that gave all of us at home to give that reach that would be possible. And then of course, mobile and cloud was what given all of us supercomputers in our pocket and connected and being able to do our apps. Today, I think we are in a what we call 5th technology era, which is basically driven by data and AI, which is giving us much more insights about what we do, and that can give us the actions that can make huge differences. And XTC winners in this year are really applying AI, blockchain, and deep analytics, and across many of these applications that can make huge differences in a way that are making all of us to live in a better place.
Yeah, I'll pick up on what Young was saying. If you think about the applicability of computation in our hands now, it used to be mainframes and minis and PCs, and now you've got incredible amounts of power really everywhere because technology has become pervasive. We're finally at a point now where I think digital technology in general can lower the friction to good solutions in every way. Technology over the past sort of 40, 50, 60 years has done also a lot of good and bad. If you think about technology as a bit of a double-edged sword, it creates a lot of progress, but historically in the industrial era, it threw off a lot of side effects that we didn't understand were as harmful as they were to people and animals on our planet. And I think we're at a point now where if you think about digital technologies and their ability to lower friction to good use cases, make them very, very replicable and scale them rapidly, we can now try to apply that to solutions that are good for this planet to have an impact that we couldn't before. Because we've got to take that trajectory of technology doing seemingly good economic beneficial things, but then harm to our planet, and change that from bad to good with digital scaling today.
Mm-hmm. And so I want to pick
when you go into that, there are a lot of side effects, right? Cloud sounds good, but it creates a lot of power. It generates a lot of power. So there are many side effects that Bill talked about. Got to be managed with even better technology, better cooling, and lower way of doing it, not at the same power ratio that are required. That's just an example of a power and performance requirements. But there are many side impacts that we have to manage as we are advancing our innovation.
Mm-hmm. So I want to pick up on that, talking about tech for good and why is this the right time to invest in purpose-driven technology innovations? Not because this is absolutely the right thing to do, but also represent some of the biggest investment opportunities today. Bill, do you want to take that question?
Sure. Young's always said that for many decades before this era, saying that you were driving a purpose-driven company meant that you could never make profits. And that felt like it was largely the case 20 years ago. I think we're at a point now where the technology cost curve has brought a lot of solutions to bear that now have cost structures that allow companies to make profit. And so the capital markets are now rewarding entrepreneurs in an oversized way that build businesses that do good for this, that both build profit, but also do good for this planet. You could look at examples, whether they're Tesla in, less carbon footprint, or Beyond Meat in what they do with, non-meat proteins. Both of them and others in that category have generated collectively, I think, market cap of over $1 trillion in the last 10 years. So now is the time to start a business that is profitable and doing good for this planet, because the capital markets will also reward and fuel it.
Young, your thoughts?
Well, I think the cost of doing business has changed drastically because of the digitalization, and the global reach can be really accessible. And I think a lot of great ideas was always contained in certain area, but could not be reached, couldn't be solved. Now with the digitalization, with Zoom and others, you can be able to reach, you can work from distance. So there's many ways I think one can collaborate, working on bigger problems. And it is right. I think that there are many great ideas, sustainability-driven ideas, becoming even more critical as people are more aware of the issues. And I believe that UN 17 sustainability goals that are driven, these are very critical goals. And I believe that solving these problems can be also great business. And I believe whether it's addressing agricultural issues, whether it's health issues, whether it's inclusion issues, there are so much technology that can make a positive impact if you're using it right.
That's great. And Bill, you founded XTC about a decade ago and then teamed up with Young a few years ago to relaunch XTC as this global community that brings together entrepreneurs and large corporations working together to tackle global challenges that's inspired by the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So under this new structure, XTC is now active in almost 100 countries across 6 continents. What are you hoping to accomplish with our platform?
I'll tell you what, so back in the beginning, Young was our first backer. So we co-founded it because he put up the money to help us, do that first contest. And I think we kind of stumbled around as a really entrepreneurial contest for years. Young has added with you an element of scaling. I think I've always had this vision of this becoming kind of a bigger marketplace-driven function that really allows and empowers the best people around the planet that didn't have access to resources before to flourish. And it's wonderful to see it happening now. I think, the reach, the strength of the entrepreneurs, the financial backing that's come into the companies that have been winning, it's beautiful to see. So I don't know that, of course there's more to be done, but I think we're on the right track. And I just want to see game-changing companies continue to come out of this contest that have really positive impact on this planet.
I think great companies will give more imitators. And what we want to do is really, with our program, try to create a successful impact companies that can help others to learn from and then want to imitate those success. So we have more successful companies that are participating. And part of this is in education. Part of that is sharing. Part of that is also motivating people to join this important cause, because there is so much to be done. And we believe innovation is one way we can be able to make a huge dent in what's going on in our community. Just think about light bulb, right? If you think about light bulb, it's been around over 100 years. incandescent light bulb. But today, many of us using LED. And at the time when the LED first came out, it was a new innovation. People thought it was too expensive. It didn't make sense. And people are really conservative in adopting LED technology. But today, because of LED, we can save so much more power that also lasts 20 times longer than traditional light bulb. It's a much more better saving as well as better power ratio. And it makes a lot of sense to be adopted as a part of our daily usage.
That's great. So let's talk about some of the successful companies that come out of XTC. Can you share a few, Bill?
Sure. Last year we had an amazing overall winner and female founder winner in a company called Microgen. And, the impact of the contest, it's hard to measure because, it is a contest that brings some visibility, some potential funding. This is a company that basically had a microbiome solution that could coat plant roots. You dip the seeds in, it coats the roots, and it creates a natural barrier to heavy metals in food. We've been in this world where industrialization has polluted the soil, and humans didn't even know that with every grain of rice, they're eating some cadmium and other heavy metals that could poison your body. They just didn't even know. So Microgen had this amazing solution that is low cost, very scalable. And right after the contest, they attracted a bunch of funding from the judges that empowered them to go and have a little bit more reach. There's a shot that they'll have $100 million in orders in 2023 now. So they're quoting a bunch of big agricultural fields where people know they need to do something. So that's just one example of a recent contestant that has gotten a little bit more of its sea legs with help from this contest.
Hey, and Young?
Well, at Rewire, a company from Israel, and it's a company that are helping really through fintech to give identity and credit so that when the migrants go from one country to another, they typically don't have any credible credit history. And how do you then be able to open a bank? How do you wire money? And this always has been very cumbersome process, very expensive. And I think Rewire want to change all that with the digital technology and bring the cost of friction down, give them an identity so that they can be able to have a proper banking experience between the new country to their home country. And I think that ability to democratize the whole cost structure of doing a fintech is very important for many people that are migrating from one location to another.
Mm-hmm. And that's just two of many, many great examples.
Right.
So I want to bring us back to the global finals. It's so great to be here hosting this event, and we're joined by leaders in the public and private sectors. Why should startups, VCs, and corporations, policymakers, philanthropists, and academia get involved with XTC? Bill?
XTC has become a marketplace for innovation. If you think about, for example, in the corporate world, I'd guess that roughly half of the Fortune 100 from 25 years ago are no longer in the Fortune 500. And they've been basically replaced by companies that have out-innovated them. So I think we're in this world of accelerating rapid change where if you don't have your fingers on the pulse of the new things that are going to disrupt your business, you could be gone. And so I think no company can have every person in the world that's innovating in their sector under their own umbrella. It's just not the way the world is anymore. So this is a place where companies, policymakers, venture capitalists, universities can all come to see what's happening from the best of the best. There were 3,700 companies in this contest this year from 92 countries, and they're just blossoming with all kinds of new ideas that have actually been implemented in forms where they're starting to get real traction and starting to build businesses. So I think, this is a place to be.
Great. Young?
Well, I think what's important here is that we all know innovation is important. Entrepreneurship can be very lonesome, especially working on global innovation from different remote locations. And we want to give a fair chance to everybody to participate and create a road of innovation journey from a startup to corporation interest, making sure we create a highway so we can accelerate from the startup journey all the way to corporate awareness.
And it's absolutely awesome to be on this ride with you, our stakeholders. So as we wind down XTC 2021, give us a sneak peek into what to expect in the new year. Bill?
What to expect. I think, we're at this inflection point where I think innovation, it's been inflecting. So it's not a new inflection point, but we're continuing this upward slope of data-driven, new technology-driven, innovative companies that are coming out of nowhere and growing big really fast. So I'd say as we look forward, we're just going to see the kind of things that we've been seeing for the last few years in size and at scale a lot more rapidly. So, I know when I seeded Zoom years and years ago, if somebody had told me you might get a unicorn out of that, I would have been very excited. Little did I think would it be a centacorn, or a decacorn first and then a centacorn now. So it is possible now to build $100 billion value companies in less than a decade out of interesting innovations in mainstream markets where technology matters. And I hope that a couple of them come out of the XTC.
And I think these companies, whether Zoom, Berkeley Lights, all these companies helping to include all of us in more equal ways. So I think not only these companies are valuable, but I think that has a huge impact in our lives.
Great. And going back to Bill, any new announcement to share about our new year?
We certainly do. Over the years, we've been building a repeatable, scalable pod of innovation around the world and adding all kinds of geographic groups. We now, under Victoria and Young's leadership, have added a focus on tapping amazing talent that focuses on diversity. Last year, we added a female founder award. This year, I'm excited to announce that in partnership with the organization Smartrepreneur, we're empowering even more people by adding a new category aligned with historically Black colleges and universities across the USA, also known as HBCUs. So for XTC 2022, there's going to be a direct path from that category to the finalist pool. That finalist pool is a pool chosen from this year, 3,700 applicants. So that group from HCBU is going to have a direct path into that pool that produced this year the 7 finalists. So if you're excited about that and an administrator of the HBCU schools, please reach out to Victoria at extremetechchallenge.org.
Young, any news to share?
Yes, we have some great news to share, Victoria. It's my pleasure to announce XT's partnership with Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations to empower technology entrepreneurs working to defeat hunger and to improve nutrition and food security worldwide. As resources become constrained due to climate changes and population growth, we need game-changing solutions to create better, sustainable food system. This partnership will provide exceptional XTC startups the broader exposure, recognition, and opportunities to scale their businesses and apply their solutions to real important challenges. We look forward to showcasing XTC startups with the greatest potential at the upcoming World Food Forum Startup Innovation Awards this fall. Here to share more about this partnership, it's my pleasure to introduce Beth Bechtel, Deputy Director General of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations.
Hi, everyone. I would like to thank Young, Bill, and Victoria and the Extreme Tech Challenge team for inviting me here today, and a warm welcome to everyone in the audience for the XTC Global Finals. My name is Beth Bechtel. I'm Deputy Director General at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, or FAO. And it is with great enthusiasm that I am here to announce our partnership with XTC in the form of the World Food Forum Startup Innovation Awards. Strategic partnerships are essential to fostering and scaling up innovative solutions and bringing about the transformative change we need to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. By pooling our knowledge, our ideas, and our resources, and complementing each other's strengths, we can overcome the challenges we face as a global community. Equally essential, though, is harnessing the potential of young people and empowering young entrepreneurs to become catalysts for positive change. The World Food Forum is an independent global network of partners, a brainchild of FAO's own Youth Committee, and it is led by young people to spark a movement that transforms our global agri-food systems and helps us to achieve the SDGs, including zero hunger. The World Food Forum Startup Innovation Awards, powered by XTC, will identify the contestants who entered the 2021 Extreme Tech Challenge that show the greatest potential for driving change in agri-food systems. We look forward to announcing the winners at the World Food Forum, which will be held from October 1st to 6th this year. But now, back to today, and why I am so thrilled to be welcoming you to the XTC Global Finals presented by TechCrunch. In the wake of COVID-19, it has become increasingly clear that there is much work left to do to build back better and to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Today, there are 700 million people in this world going hungry. 10% of the world's population lives in extreme poverty. And yet, on the other hand, another 650 million people are obese. And by 2050, this planet will have an additional 2 billion people. We need to reimagine agri-food systems. The scale of the challenge of climate change, of biodiversity, loss, and adaptation is staggering, and it requires united global awareness and bold action. FAO recognizes that empowering innovation, connecting public and private sectors, and identifying game-changing solutions are the keys to creating the exponential shifts that will enable us to create a better food future for everyone. That is why the work that XTC is doing is so critical. I come from a background where advancing innovation for sustainable development was a priority, and the opportunity given here by XTC to bring tech for good is one that can really help foster those advancements on a global scale. So again, my thanks to the XTC team for creating this fantastic platform and for bringing FAO as a partner to it. And for our partnership, we know which will be very successful going into the future. To today, all of the contestants and winners, I thank you for driving change, for finding solutions, and for delivering impact.
Hello, I'm Catherine Bischoff, CEO of the Sovereign Nature Initiative and proud advisory board member of the Extreme Tech Challenge. I'm happy to announce that the XTC 2021 winner of the AgTech and Food Tech category is Wasteless. Wasteless collaborates with grocery stores to reduce food waste by automatically marking down products using their AI technology, which evaluates over 40 factors like supply, demand, price elasticity, and shelf status in real time. Wasteless is providing an environmentally friendly solution to climate change, as food waste is one of the largest sources of CO2 emissions, as well as a financial incentive for all components in the supply chain to invest in their environmental agenda. Now, please enjoy the pitch.
Hi, my name is Tomás and I'm from Wasteless. So 1/3 of the food produced in the world is never eaten. And this is not only bad for the planet, but also for supermarkets that usually throw away up to 8% of perfectly edible food, mostly concentrated on fresh items. So who's to blame about this? Expiration dates. We, as consumers, tend to always choose the product with the longer expiration date, even when we know our intention is to consume it within a day or two. Prices are usually the same, with no rational incentive to pick a product with a shorter date. The solution to this problem is Wasteless. With Wasteless, you can help supermarkets reduce waste by choosing that same high-quality yogurt and get a discount just because it has some few days less of shelf life. Our pricing technology monitors the shelf and delivers optimal markdowns based on the risk of that item of being wasted. For this to work, traditional barcodes are replaced by date-enabled barcodes so that checkouts can recognize the expiration date of each item. The point of sale interacts with our pricing engine, and consumers are able to see these discounts in both physical and digital channels, getting a reward to make a sustainable shopping decision. Now, the good news is that it actually works. For example, in Spain and Italy, we were able to reduce waste by up to 90%, increasing both revenues and margins. Retailers usually pay a setup fee per store, plus a monthly fee per product that we cover. And we are currently raising $5 million to expand our technology in the US and Europe. And we are also very proud to announce our next project in one of the largest retailers in Europe that will go live in 40 stores very soon. As a global team of software developers and data scientists, we envision a triple win solution, allowing supermarkets to sell more, give consumers the opportunity to save money, while helping to build a more sustainable future for our planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tomas, for your presentation. Welcome. Let's go to Young for the first question.
Great, Thomas, really appreciate the understanding how to reduce the waste, particularly the food, which I understand 40% of much of our food is wasted. I have two questions for you. One is around customer experience. If I'm an end customer going into your market that are deploying your system, how do I know that it is discounted or it has a new optimum pricing? Because often when you go into store, you see already markers saying, sales and whatever. So that's a question of just knowing, how does the end customer know? Because sometimes I just look at what I want to buy. I don't even check carefully what pricing it is, whether it is changed. Second question, you talk about using AI usage to adjust price. I'm assuming it's an automatic pricing adjustment to deal with the number of SKUs. And I just want to understand scalability of that.
Great, thanks for your question, Jan. So, first of all, we have different ways to interact with consumers. Of course, right now it's booming the digital channel, which of course you can see directly different prices for a specific item, let's say in an e-commerce. But when it comes to stores, we have worked a lot on the communication part. And our main solution in this case is electronic shelf labels. So basically, you can, when there is some product that is going to expire or that is in high risk of waste, the electronic shelf label will display a different price for a different for specific expiration date. Let's say if this product expires on before, let's say August the 3rd, you will pay $2.30. If it expires later, you will pay $3, let's say. So electronic shelf labels automatically change. And based on our customer service after our pilots and our projects that we have run, around 75% at least understood how this works. So the results were very positive. As regards the second question, of course, we have thought about this to make a global solution for large retailers where the impact can be stronger. So it's totally scalable, and in fact it works also better with no interaction of people. So it's kind of streamlined and seamless integration where you don't need to do anything in the point of sale or in the store, okay? The engine automatically takes into account not only rotation and sales, but also specific variables for each store, and then it applies automatically the discounts, showing it on electronic shelf labels.
Great, Thomas, appreciate that.
Great, let's go to Regina.
Thomas, related to Young's question, can you explain a little bit more how important it is to optimize dynamically for each individual SKU and in time versus, say,
offering a flat discount that the store increases as you get closer to the expiration?
Great question, Regina. Yes, basically, when you see a current solution for retailers, you would actually see that maybe on 2 days before or 1 day before expiring, you see a 40% discount of a product. And the problem with that is not only that you are almost losing money or avoiding losing the total amount of the value of that product, but also you have a large risk that you don't even sell it. So when it comes to AI and when you have experience doing different discounts, you can know what's the best time of the week or of the day to start discounting a specific item. So when you finally see the profit of this way of implementing discounts, which actually is markdowns, you see that the benefit is really, really positive compared to other solutions that you actually have higher risk of not even selling it at all, even if you are losing money for that sale. Okay, so we optimize the profitability, not only food waste.
Okay, Jerry, your question?
Okay, Tommaso, we have less than 30 seconds. What are you looking for in a U.S. partner? What are the things that you would look for in a retailer to help you launch the fastest?
We are almost looking for retailers that bet on technology, that have a large number of fresh products, okay, because that's where we can have the highest impact, and that are willing to bet on technology. That's all we want.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Tomas. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Dragos Machuca. I'm the Executive Technical Director for the Ford Research and Innovation Center in Palo Alto. Here we're looking not only for technologies related to software, sensing, and autonomy, but also energy, recyclable materials, and sustainability. As such, I'm happy to announce that the XTC 2021 winner of the Clean Tech and Energy category is Mining and Process Solutions. Their innovation is a natural alternative to cyanide and acid for processing mining metals. Technologies like this showcase how entrepreneurship can grow a sustainable future through developing non-toxic alternatives and implementing safe and environmentally responsible processes. Congratulations to the Mining Process Solutions team. Now please enjoy their pitch.
As we progress towards a decarbonized and electrified world, metals like nickel, copper, and cobalt are critically needed. For copper, a deficit of 10 million tons is projected by 2030. This equates to 8 times the production of the world's largest copper mine. Geoscience Australia has identified that in Australia alone, there are $70 billion worth of copper, nickel, and cobalt in ores and wastes that are considered marginally uneconomic using current technology. MPS's glycine leaching technology is able to unlock many of these stranded metals. It also addresses environmental and social issues associated with more traditional mining. Glycine is the key ingredient in our smart chemistry. It is an amino acid that is biodegradable, non-toxic, and naturally occurring in the human body. It is even edible. Importantly, it allows for the selective dissolution of valued metals and is not consumed in the process, so it can be reused, a key source of economic advantage over alternative methods that use sulfuric acid and cyanide. For MPS's flagship Australian project, we have demonstrated a 30% reduction in the cost of metal extraction with our technology. This represents a step change cost advantage over traditional methods. It underpins a total available market of more than $1 billion based on suitable deposits that we have identified so far. We have bootstrapped ourselves to date and are establishing multiple revenue streams. We have an annual recurring revenue of $2 million currently and expect this to grow to over $20 million within 5 years. We have solid industry validation with over $8 million spent to date by mining companies in testing and piloting. We currently have 7 advanced projects across Australia, South America, and Africa, and executed 6 user licenses. We have an award-winning team who believe passionately that a renewable energy future needs a sustainable mining industry. MPS, unlocking stranded metals to accelerate a sustainable tomorrow.
Thanks, Ivor. Welcome. Great presentation. Let's go to young person's question.
All right, Ivor, thank you. The question I have is really about whenever there is a new material, it seems to take longer than we wanted. So the question of really deployment and economics between the toxic stuff that requires metal versus the glycerin that you talked about.
Okay. I guess the answer to that first question is that glycine has been around for a long time as a bulk product, so it's available in the market. It's shippable around the world, and so it's used primarily in a bulk form for animal feedstock. In terms of the economics, I guess we're competing against for base metals, sulfuric acid, and I guess in the gold space we're competing against cyanide. And we're really targeting those stranded deposits that really don't have a solution with conventional technology. So in the case of base metals, it's typically something like a copper oxide that is consumed in high quantities by the sulfuric acid. So the economics don't work with conventional technology, and these deposits remain stranded. Similarly, in the gold space, they can have contaminants that consume lots of cyanide, and so we are competing in a situation where they don't make sense in an economic sense. So we have a flagship project in Australia that I think I showed in the slides, and we're demonstrating a 30% improvement in operating costs.
Thank you.
I can't hear Regina.
Question? Sorry, Victoria, did you? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Victoria.
I did. Yeah, your question, Regina?
Oh, sorry. Of course, your audio went out. Well, first of all, I can say that we don't see many entrepreneurs who have the privilege of tasting their products. So congrats over to you. The question that I have is about diversion in the industry. You've described about $8 million in pilots and in testing. When you do those tests, what is the time that those pilots typically run for, and how long does it? How quickly do your customers convert over to full scale?
Okay. The piloting process is very dependent on the actual application, but typically it's a sort of a 3-week program, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So we run it continuously, so we can get operating data that we can then use to scale up to a full-scale plant. I guess the mining industry is a little conservative, and so they need to de-risk each process before it gets adopted. So we are, I guess, in a process that does test work, then it leads to a pilot program, and then it leads to a plant trial. We've been working with our flagship project for probably around about 12, 14 months. So that's a typical sort of time frame from go to woe.
Thank you.
Great, Jerry.
Ivor, thank you. I'm very interested in this, but I know very little about it. And I was just curious if maybe you could talk a little bit about, there's 2 general questions. One is what happens, do you have a supply issue with glycine if this becomes like a massive wave trend going forward? And then the second question is, similar to Regina's question on 20 million ARR in 5 years. I'm just curious, what's the way to accelerate that? How do you really make this sort of a much higher growth business if these pilots are proving out both economically and obviously on the efficiency?
Okay. I guess glycine, as I mentioned earlier, is a bulk product, and so I guess it's commercially available, and we actually have done some reasonable market studies around if there's an uptick in the use of glycine in the mining industry, what impact that would have in terms of supply chain, and really there's plentiful bulk product currently on the market, but there would be very little impact that would drive any price point increase. In terms of how to accelerate the process and as I said earlier, it is the mining industry is a little conservative. You do have to de-risk it, and that requires stages. And so, yeah, I guess it's a process of making sure we've got plenty of advanced projects in the pipeline and doing it in parallel. But I assume once the first plant is actually implemented, then I guess the mining industry will find it easier to adopt.
Great. Thank you, Ivor, from Mining and Process Solutions.
My name is Cecile Belilius, and I'm the head of Impact and Sustainability at Pitango Venture Capital, based out of Israel. At Pitango, we believe that technology is critical to protect people and our planet and create a fair and inclusive society. We're happy to be playing an active role as investors to support impact startups. I'm proud to announce that the XTC 2021 winner of the EdTech category is Testmaster. Their technology revolutionizes education in Western African societies with a unique mobile application to help students learn and pass their matriculation exams. It has already impacted thousands of underprivileged students across Nigeria with over 16,000 exercises and tutorials embedded into the curriculum, providing an affordable and effective means to learning and public education. We know that education translates to greater opportunities and social mobility. And so, congratulations to the Testmaster team for their impactful work and for their many achievements. Please enjoy their pitch.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ophir Zukovsky, and I'm the co-founder of Testmaster. Testmaster is tackling one of the greatest global challenges of the collapsing education systems in sub-Saharan Africa. We created a digital, affordable, private tutor for every child. Few facts. By the year of 2050, 40% of kids under the age of 5 will be African. Education systems in Africa are failing, with overcrowded classes and unqualified teachers. According to the UN reports, Sub-Saharan Africa is expected to have a shortage of 17 million teachers by 2030. In Nigeria, the biggest country in the continent, 62% of kids do not finish high school. This is a staggering reality, but there is hope in the horizon. Africa is at a digital tipping point. Smartphone penetration is skyrocketing. An Android smartphone costs $50 and data prices are dropping. Testmaster is at the forefront of this digital revolution. Testmaster models the national matriculation and college entrance exams into thousands of learning objects, all solved in short, step-by-step videos by the best teachers in the country, providing every child with an affordable digital private tutor in his pocket. We started our journey in Nigeria and have tested our solution with the help of the Educational Department of the University of Lagos. Our students experienced significant improvements of 25 to 30% in both English and math. Today, Testmaster is ranked among the top 3 educational apps in Nigeria with over 200,000 downloads, over 1 million videos watched, and we've just started. We thank you for the opportunity to present today, and we call you from this stage to join our journey to democratize education. Thank you.
Great, nice job, Ophir. Let's go to Jerry for the first question.
Thank you, Ophir. It's wonderful to see the work you're doing, and I'm a big fan of the kind of impact you are already making.
Thank you so much.
I'm curious about 2 quick questions. One is, I'm always curious about operating in places like Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa and Nigeria. So talk to me a little about your team and how many people does it take to kind of scale this as you think about going forward? And then the second quick question is on the business model. It seems like you are having a very low acquisition cost of users, which is terrific. Do you think this will continue? And what is your ultimate business model?
Okay, thank you very much, Jerry, for the question. So as for the first question, we are a collaborative team between a team in Israel and a team in Nigeria. we have a large team on the grounds to produce the content that relates to the JAMB and WIAC exam. We actually work with the top teachers in the country. We also have a team of around 25 people on the ground who are working constantly with different states and also adding content. Specifically for your second question around scaling it up in the business model, so we are working in two business models. One is a B2C model where we actually deliver it through the app and supporting the JAMB, which is the psychometric test for Nigeria, the college entrance exam, as well as WIAC. In parallel, we are also working with states in Nigeria in order to penetrate the public education systems and provide them access to the content. The business model for the B2C part is to provide a private tutor app for students at the cost of 5% of what the alternative tutoring center or a real private tutor would cost you.
Over to you, Regina.
So, Ofer, can you explain to me the tech stack a bit and what advantage you have on the technical side? Do you consume less data? Do you have mesh networking effects? How is that contributing to the success of uptake?
So, of course, Nigeria being a country in the sub-Saharan Africa, we've optimized the sizes of the videos as well as provided a personalized experience. So in the application, there is the ability of every student to test his knowledge, and we are collecting the data about each student in order to provide a learning path that fits every student. As a next step, we are going to develop an AI-based model or a chatbot, tutor bot, that would run on top of commercial instant messaging platforms in order to allow even bigger scale.
Great. Over to you, Yang.
Great. Thanks, Atir. Question I have is, I just love expanding using mobility to reach global reach that could not be possible in many ways. But the question I have is, as you're reaching global, right now you're developing the market in Nigeria. How is it, how do you expand to other markets like Indonesia and others? So the real question is expandability and scale-up capabilities.
Thanks, Yang. So just to answer the first question, so the curriculum we actually developed is supporting 5 states in Africa already. It's called WIAC, West African Examination Council. Within 6 months, based on our experience, we can enter a new territory, and we're focusing on areas with over 100 million population in order to assess a market. So within 6 months, we are able to get into a new country with a new language. It's always the local production that we take the best teacher in a country and we model them into the app in order to meet the local accent and the local language and provide familiarity to the students at help.
Great. Thank you, Ofer, from Testmaster. Thanks for the great work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Wamet, Executive Vice President and General Counsel for NXP Semiconductor, a founding member of XTC. As a leading chip maker and global innovator, we believe in the power of technology and innovation to make a difference in our lives. We see our partnership with XTC as a critical incubator for furthering this belief and passion for technology that matters. And we need creative thinkers, entrepreneurs, startups, and the young innovators of tomorrow to take up this challenge with us. As part of the XTC ecosystem, I'm proud to witness firsthand companies who, like NXP, are driving toward the goal of creating a smarter, more inclusive, sustainable world. And today, I'm pleased to announce the winner of XTC 2021's Enabling Technology category is Dot Inc. Dot Inc. is the maker of the first tactile monitor that can enable STEM education, visual works, and games for the 285 million visually impaired people worldwide. Its proprietary technology innovations allow the visually impaired to have better access to information and therefore help to build a more inclusive society that includes greater access to economic opportunities for all. Congratulations to the Dotting team, and now please enjoy their pitch.
Hi, I'm Eric, CEO of Dot. What if we live in the world without the monitor? It's very hard to imagine. For 30 years, 285 million visually impaired people needed a tactile monitor like this. But what's available right now is just one line of a braille display. You can only read text line by line, and it costs more than $3,000 to $5,000. To make a full-page screen, it was impossible to make it happen. For 30 years, there were so many fails and no one succeeded. So we created 10 times smaller, lighter, and cheaper deep technology with over 114 patents. And we created DotPad. DotPad gives the full opportunities to access all graphic materials, text and braille to all ages of blind people. And this is like an ultimate technology that enables GUI with disruptive price like a Macintosh. This is how worldwide method teaching STEM education for blind students is very, very manual. To change this, recently the US government selected us to digitalize every K-12 materials with a $30 million contract for 4 years. We are becoming the standard technology in this market. This technology enables more educations and jobs. We can enrich the generation. Right now, this market is like early PC or mobile industry. Even basic apps can create a worldwide impact. That's why right now, big tech giants are working with us to create their accessibility devices. Not just a display, Dot also has the strongest AI cloud to translate all text in braille and graphics to tactile display. $20 billion market opportunity is ahead of us with the game-changing technologies. We are ready for the global scale-up right now. Dot is the team with top universities, global companies like Samsung, LG, and Nokia. We are enabling the generation with the disabilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, Eric. It's nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
Great. Let's go to Regina for the first question.
Eric, congratulations. Tell me a little bit more. Imagine that you met all the demand for the vision impaired market. This is a core technology now evolving. What other markets or products do you think could be enabled by it?
Well, actually, the blind market itself is big enough. For example, if we can provide only 10% of 185 million visually impaired population of this tactile monitor, it's already a $50 billion market. And actually, what we are focusing on right now is a young generation about education, so that we can have high LTV, that the students can get familiar with our technology, and when they grow up, they can keep using our technology with many applications.
Great. Jerry, your question?
Sorry, I thought you guys can unmute me. Congratulations, Eric. My question is, on the software side, you're producing this device. How much software are you building on top of your device before it can interface with more traditional software, or is this a stack that you have to develop all by yourself?
Well, thank you very much for the great question, Jerry. We have, first of all, we have AI-based text and graphic translation engine that transfer data with the most accessible UI format to DotPad. With this right now, we're making ebook and textbook platform, since normally making tactile book takes 2 to 3 months. And we can make that in 1 minute with our AI engine. And with this AI engine API, we are collaborating with app developers to make first arcade games, productivity application on the DotPad already. We are working on it. And we will make this platform as a cloud services for institutions like global schools, universities, museums, public libraries, government institutions, and individuals. It's already happening, and we're really excited that we can be the standard technology globally.
Did you catch that last bit, Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Over to you, Young.
Great, Eric. I love what you're working on. I'm most interested in going to global market, given your technology really doesn't matter where the boundary or border is. So I'm interested in your global expansion plan, given your Korean company. I know you're building international team. So tell us a little bit about how you want to go after. I know you also won US projects, which is very impressive.
Well, yes, thank you very much for the great question to Yang. And going global is the most important topic for us because visually impaired people are everywhere globally right now. So what we are focusing on right now is not just make an individual device for each government. We are collaborating with tech giants already. For example, like more than 150 million visually impaired people in G20 countries use smartphones. So if you work with smartphone brand, because of our technology, users of competitors need to change their smartphone, and existing customers' loyalty will go up, for example. And suppose with our collaboration, like 10 million new visually impaired customers change their smartphone, it's more than $10 billion. So that's the point that we are focusing on. We want to make more and more collaboration with big tech giants, and that actually, enabling this generation more, fulfilling apps. And I think that is the kind of key point to make more diverse jobs, diverse educations, diverse applications.
All right. Any other questions for Eric? Great. Thank you, Eric from Dot Inc. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Shankar Chandran, and I'm delighted to be part of XTC 2021. I'm a managing director with Walden Catalyst Ventures. Now, Walden Catalyst Ventures is a venture capital firm that focuses on investments into disruptive startups, particularly those focused on data and AI, and those going after markets that are ripe for change, markets like fintech, manufacturing, and healthcare. Today, I'm really honored to introduce to you the winner of XTC 2021 FinTech category winner. The company is Hillridge Technology. This is a company that's innovated on multiple fronts. They have incorporated data and AI to provide a service that was just not possible to do before, particularly by traditional insurance companies. They've also really utilized cloud and data infrastructure, which allows them to access a market that wasn't accessible before. And finally, they've innovated along the way the multiple steps that are involved in an insurance value chain, how to price premiums, how to really assess the value of assets, and how to file claims in a frictionless way and distribute proceeds when needed. So by doing these things, the company is able to position itself in a very nice way to a market that's deeply impacted by climate change, particularly extreme climate change that's happening all around us. And this is the market of agriculture. We think, particularly in the agriculture market, the small farmer has been deeply underserved. The big companies have access to derivatives and other financial instruments where they can hedge their bets. But the small farmer is really at the mercy of extreme weather. And Hillridge Technology has created a product and a service that's really timely for this market. Join me in listening to Hillridge Technologies. Thank you.
I'm Dale Schilling, CEO and co-founder of Hillridge Technology. We developed a platform to help farmers buy affordable weather insurance. This is insurance against extreme climate events that local insurers won't cover: drought, frost, heat stress, too much rain. It's a $70 billion problem that affects hundreds of millions of farmers around the world. The insurance industry calls it the climate protection gap. Traditional weather insurance can take weeks and cost thousands to arrange. Our software analyses the risk profile of the farm to provide pin drop pricing in seconds. And once you pay that premium, you're covered. If that weather event occurs, your payout is fixed, fast, and guaranteed. The insurance is parametric, based on temperature or rainfall. It's based on algorithms, and it's automated, which reduces the variable cost and minimum contract size by 2 orders of magnitude. This opens up new customers for our insurance partners, small and medium-sized farming businesses in the developed world, and smallhold farmers in emerging markets. They can diversify their risks across a wider area and enter new markets in months, not years. In return, the insurer pays us a percentage of premium revenues for our pricing, risk management, portfolio management, and settlement services. We launched last year in Australia with a specialist agency. Last month, we signed with Mitsui Sumitomo Insurance, Marsh, the world's largest insurance broker, and Nutrien, a global farming supplier. We're now raising our seed round to expand internationally in unserved and underserved markets. Whether it's in risk management, fintech, agronomy, or engineering, we have the right team to make it happen. Climate change means that catastrophic weather will hit our farms now more than ever. Let's give farmers the tools they need to manage their weather risks, and with that, greater peace of mind and financial resilience for them and the communities they live and work in. Thank you.
Hi, nice to see you, Dale. Congratulations. Welcome.
Hi, Victoria. Thank you.
Great. Let's go to Young for the first question.
Great. Dale, congratulations. It sounds really innovative. It's really the data business. And the question that I have is that as you are putting together this database risk management insurance options, how do you address the fragmentation of small farmers and others, which would be difficult market to reach, and it will take a lot of effort to do that. So I'm curious about your marketing approach in this.
Yeah, so it's a great question. Thank you. The beauty of this technology is that the unit cost for every additional policy is practically negligible, because the entire pricing and the purchasing process is entirely automated. And so that allows us to reach into smallhold farmers, provided they've got access to the internet. So they log on to our portal, they pin drop where their map is, we look for the nearest weather station or grid point for that farm, and we're able to offer them a price in seconds. And once they buy that premium, they're covered. So our go-to-market approach is really to grow through corporate partnerships, people that already have these trusted relationships with farmers, and get the word out, because the biggest barrier to buying this product is really educating the consumer.
Over to you, Regina.
So Dale, have you thought about the closed loop opportunity here? In other words, could you use this data to then help farmers and or other tech developers optimize their investments to reduce the risk to them and therefore lower their premiums?
Absolutely. One of our big research projects at the moment is looking at the impact of frost and heat stress, which is a real emerging topic for broadacre farmers. And so we're able to help the farmer identify what are the cultivars that will minimise their frost risk. And then with that residual risk, they then might look at insurance options to offset that risk to others. So it's both about helping the farmers make better agronomic choices given their location, but also then offsetting the risks that they can't control.
Jerry?
Dale, thank you. I am fascinated by this and really would like to learn a little bit more. One is a really rookie question, if you will, which is with the kind of extreme weather that you're trying to insure against, do the data and the algorithms that reflect historical data, does that accurately project what's going to happen in the future? And obviously we're just reading live about all the flood and heat and everything that's going on. And the second question is maybe a little related to Regina's question about competitive barrier and competitive advantage. What is to prevent, let's say you're massively successful, which I hope you are, what is to prevent somebody else to go and try to do this? Is there a way for you to build a business that is, increasingly more competitive? Is there a flywheel that's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing you're talking about is, yes, we do take into account the effects of climate change. These are known effects, both in warming, but also in changes in precipitation. We're also seeing things like these frost events occur at a rate, despite global warming, at a rate that we haven't seen in the last 20 years. And so all of that is factored into the algorithms themselves, and the algorithm learns over time. So it gets better and better adjusting for the latest climate information. On the second point, it's really that piece. Weather data itself is quite freely accessible in many cases. But it's our ability to analyse those weather patterns and provide really sharp risk pricing so that the farmer gets the best price for their location. That's our secret sauce.
Just quickly describe your IP. Do you have any IP portfolio?
So we manage it through trade secrets rather than as patent protected.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dale from Hillridge Technology. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michał Siwiński, and I'm a corporate vice president at Cadence. From intelligence in smartphones to data centers that support applications such as healthcare, Cadence enables people to create the products and solutions of today and tomorrow. I am very pleased to announce the winner of the health tech category for XTC 2021 is Genetica Plus. As depression affects countless people, the work of Genetica Plus has the potential to change the way we treat mental health. Congratulations to Genetica Plus.
Thank you. 300 million people globally suffer from major depression, and every 80 seconds, one of these individuals takes their own lives. We urgently need to change these statistics. When treating a patient for depression, the physician must choose from one of over 70 different medications, each taking 4 to 6 weeks to test. The patient loses months to years of their lives searching for the right treatment. At Genetica Plus, we're taking this period of trial and error testing out of the patient and into the lab where it belongs. My name's Dr. Talia Cohen-Solal, and I spent more than a decade in the lab across Oxford, UCL, and Columbia universities looking at these solutions. And I'm joined by my co-founder, Dr. Daphne Leifenfeld, previously junior faculty at Harvard and head of precision medicine at Teva. At Genetica Plus, we take a simple blood test where we combine genetics, patient history, and unique neurobiology to provide the best medication recommendation for each patient, saving lives, saving physicians' time, and reducing payer costs. That unique neurobiology is a brain-in-a-dish screen where we screen each patient sample for which antidepressant has the best impact, creating a truly personalized solution. Other competitors do exist who show only 15% success rates, and nonetheless have shown over $134 million demonstrating product market fit, and Genetica's solution is over fourfold better. This represents a $6 billion total addressable market, and this can be expanded out across disease indications and locations. This technology does not require FDA approval, and reimbursement codes are already available. Thank you for your time, and I urge you to join Genetica Plus in our battle to fight depression head on.
Hello, I'm Stefan Häuser, Head of Investments at Hyundai Cradle. We strategically invest for Hyundai Motor Group in mobility and automotive-related startups. Today, it's my pleasure to announce that the winner of the Mobility and Smart Cities category for XTC 2021 is Photokite. Photokite is using aerial intelligence to assist firefighters and first responders to save lives at the push of a button. Their solutions are fully autonomous and field-proven, used to assess, visualize, and document incidents within seconds of arriving on scene. Congratulations to Photokite for their impactful work and their many accomplishments. And now, please enjoy their pitch.
Hi, I'm Chris, CEO of Photokite.
We are a 50-person team of autonomous vehicle and aerial robotics experts set out with a mission to help first responders save lives and preserve property. Our patented technology enables us to provide an intelligent drone-in-a-box solution that gets installed in the top of fire trucks and public safety vehicles so that when this firefighter shows up to their scene, they push a single button and our system opens up, deploys itself, and provides a helicopter-like view of each response. The data we provide helps first responders size up and assess their incidents quickly and safely, like finding a missing person, identifying a hotspot in a roof, or seeing where a wildfire is progressing over hours at a time. Departments like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and many more use our systems on a daily basis to help with their life-saving work, and we have already signed on the top 2 worldwide market leaders as distribution partners. Our focus markets represent a $12.5 billion market opportunity with very high barriers to entry, and we do several things with our solution to stand out from the crowd. These include unlimited flight time, 100% autonomy, and regulations advantages. But the result is a truly scalable solution capable of digitalizing first response scenes and establishing Photokite as a connected digital data hub at these everyday incidents for the very first time. We're particularly proud to be part of the XTC cohort because we believe our solution of visualizing and building measurable context to everyday first responders will also bring added accountability to law enforcement and police markets. Body cameras and dash cameras have started to tell part of the story, but an overhead and fully contextual video record of each incident helps ensure that evidence records are complete. We're supported by an incredible investor base and are days away from a first closing of our Series B financing raise and are eager to grow our impact throughout public safety markets, helping those teams save lives every day. Thank you both for this incredible opportunity.
Great. Welcome back to the second batch of pitch sessions. Welcome, Chris. Great presentation.
Thanks a lot for having me, everyone.
Great. I'm going to head to Lars Rigger for the first question.
Hey, Chris, that was really super cool stuff that you're developing there. Hey, my question is, as my teams are developing a lot of silicon for drones, how do you see your, let's say, barriers for entry? How do you defend yourselves against some of the other drone gorillas in the market there, out there, and what is your unique selling proposition?
That's a really good question. So to begin with, we offer a system that is 100% fully autonomous. So really a public safety officer, a firefighter shows up on scene, they push a single button and the system takes care of the rest. Now, we took that wedge of the full autonomy and we entered into the public safety market years ago to learn exactly how firefighters and public safety teams really needed their aerial intelligence to be delivered to them and work into their workflows. So for the past several years, we have used our IP-based wedge and then built out a platform to be able to provide exactly what these teams need, when they need it, and how they need it. And so I would say it's really a matter of us solving the entire customer, the entire user story and journey, rather than just IP or just regulations or just other types of advantages that we have, like flight time.
And would there be any legislation or something like a regulation being able to help you somehow?
Yeah, indeed. In fact, about 3 years ago, the FAA in the US took a look at our technology and recognized it as inherently safer than normal drones. It is now US law. It is passed in a FAA reauthorization bill 3 years ago, saying that Photokite specifically actively tethered UAS can be used by any professional firefighter or public safety team without the need for piloting, without the need for authorizations or pilot training. And that's a huge hurdle. Only about 1% of public safety teams even have drone piloting authorizations and certifications. And so we actually make a technology that's accessible to all of those public safety teams. And as a result, it gives us kind of this huge advantage in being able to digitalize those public safety scenes.
Very cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Headed over to you, Bill. I think Bill's on mute. Yeah. Okay, that's it. We'll come back to you, Bill. Michael?
Yeah, hi, Chris. Congratulations very much on winning your category. It's wonderful what you're building. I want to go deeper on Lars's question a little bit and maybe just explain to a layman like me why one of the larger drone manufacturers wouldn't create a tethered version of a drone and potentially compete against you on potentially better unit economics or lower costs.
Sure. I think that there's a lot of inherent things about flight technology that are optimized for a certain situation or another. A lot of these traditional drone manufacturers have gone out and made a system that they tried to make a one-size-fits-all for consumers, for professionals, for public safety as a small segment to them, for several other uses. Now, these are systems that fly around. Flight systems are inherently very, very complex. To optimize the performance in wind, in rain, in weather, in nighttime conditions, you need to do a whole bunch of things like thermal cameras, full autonomy, GPS independence, pilot complete independence, right? We are the only system that actually delivers on that full user story. This is more of a 30-minute type of answer for you, unfortunately. But ultimately, it comes down to a whole bunch of different aspects of the user story. We end up solving those compared to only a segment of those by traditional drones.
Thank you.
Great. Over to you, Bill. I do not hear Bill, but it might be my problem.
So Chris, while Bill is trying to get the autonomous microphone airborne,
sure.
Hey, question from my side on can you talk about the limitations that the system still has? Up to which wind force, to which environmental conditions are these systems working, and what would be your next innovation step if you have one?
Yeah, so our systems have been used up to about 40 miles per hour of wind. What we build, again, with full autonomy is actually a system which automatically detects whether or not it is able to station keep completely safely directly over the vehicle or directly over the ground station at which it's tethered to. If it ever gets blown by a big gust, it'll automatically start to retract its tether a little bit until it's at a safe operating altitude and maintain its flight right there. And so this is just one of the examples of this full autonomy and our own homegrown flight stack, which ultimately ends up in a seamless customer story where they're able to use their systems just with a single push of a button. But thank you for the question.
Hi, I'm Kevin Krejci, Business Development and Alliance Manager at Fujitsu Research of America. At Fujitsu, we respond to the modern digital world by co-creating with our partners and customers and driving new value from cutting-edge digital technologies that not only transform the way we work and live, but contribute to solving global social challenges, such as the COVID-19 epidemic. It is my pleasure to announce the winner of the XTC 2021 COVID-19 Innovation Award is SunFox Technologies. SunFox's cardiac diagnostic device is portable, scalable, and AI-enabled to detect heart defects and predict the severity of cardiac health, all of which is delivered virtually through a smartphone. In a time when many parts of the world are battling the pandemics with insufficient staff and ICU resources, SunFox's smart monitoring solution reduces the burden on the healthcare infrastructure and greatly enhances patient outcomes, as it has already saved hundreds of lives in India. SunFox's life-saving medical solution exemplifies the kind of innovations that can make a profound impact on the health and well-being of many. Congratulations to the SunFox team. And now, please enjoy their pitch.
Hello everyone, I am Rajat, founder of SunFox Technologies. We are presenting Spandan, which is world's smallest ICU monitor, which converts any bed into an ICU level monitor bed to manage COVID patients. So this is a standard ICU monitor, which you see commonly in the hospitals, and it is non-portable, expensive, designed to be used by the highly skilled doctors, and also designed in such a way that it is being manufactured at the lowest scale, considering the current COVID crisis, where we need the solution for each and every home or each and every bed. So we have developed this world-class device, which is world's smallest and the smartest ICU monitor. It is completely cloud-based micro ICU monitor, which converts any bed into an ICU and get all vitals of the patients along with the real-time oxygen saturation to a cloud, which can be monitored by a doctor from anywhere in the world. These are the vitals which are monitored by us and can be seen by a doctor in the real time. It's a patented technology. It goes with all standard accessories which you see with any standard monitor. And also, it is pretty much similar in the result and also in terms of accuracy while you compare with an ICU monitor, and that too in a fraction of the cost. So it centralizes all of the bed and gets you all most sensible data in the most affordable way, and it gives a lot to the doctor as well, and also very much scalable so that you can manufacture thousands of units in a day, so that can be deployed at each and every bed. We are impacting lives all across India to the extreme remote and also the rural, and also looking to impact the global population as well. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Rajat. Welcome and congratulations. Thanks for the great work you're doing to save lives. Let me head to Bill for the first question.
Yes, Rajat, what is so when an ICU buys all the old equipment, not yours, what does that cost? Like, how much stuff are you replacing, and what are you selling your thing for, and at what margin structure?
Okay, so we replace a $5,000 machine with a $100 machine, which exactly do the same thing, and also do a lot more by putting all the data in the real time to the cloud.
That's awesome. And actually a follow-up. And so what penetration do you have already? Like, are you shipping already, or is it how early or how developed are you as a supplier?
Okay. So we developed the whole product from scratch during this second wave of COVID, and we have already penetrated 7 states, and now we are also working with several state governments to empower all of their facilities, which are makeshift facilities developed for the COVID.
Thank you. That's great. Fantastic.
Great. Over to you, Lars.
Yeah, so Rajat, awesome. I worked as a student hundreds of years back on ECG monitors, so I'm really passionate about what you're doing. But how is the quality of your systems? Is it ICU comparable, or is it more on the side like a intelligent smartwatch? So electrodes wise and quality of the data gathering wise. What are you competing with exactly?
Okay, so we benchmark the traditional machines which you see in an ICU, which is oftenly called as gold standard machines. So it goes with the standard accessories, and the doctors and staff can use it in a similar way they use a traditional monitor. However, there is no visible bedside monitor, next to the bed. We benchmark the gold standard machines, which are mainly being used in the hospital, and as compared with all of them, we are more than 99% accurate.
But what you are targeting is basically the hospital B2B market. You are not targeting the families with the smartwatches and ECG monitors in the portables, right?
So it's it fits in both of the segments. Majorly B2B, where we empower a lot of beds together on a single screen. Whereas, I mentioned we are working with one of the state governments here. They're putting these devices to each and every home where any COVID positive patient comes, right? So their doctors are remotely monitoring all of their patients there.
And do you need special legal approvals or medical approvals for the hospitals to accept your technology, or is it pretty easy to get in there into that market?
we need pretty, multiple certifications and approvals to put the product into the market. We already have the desired, licenses and certification obtained.
Great. Michael, head it over to you for the next question.
Yeah, Rajat, I think this is really amazing what you're doing, and congratulations on winning this category. I am very curious, the magnitude of the saving is so extraordinary here. What is the trade-off? So in other words, your machine that does for $100 what the old machine does for $5,000, what is the trade-off? What is it that your machine is not doing? Or where is it that your technology had to make a compromise in order to arrive at this price point? What are you giving up?
Okay, so we don't have onboard computation and the display. Okay, since we all are carrying a highly competitive smartphone in our pockets, right? So we are using the power of a smartphone for the computation as well as the display. So the device is just doing the data acquisition from the patient and pushing it to the cloud, and rest of the job is doing your smartphone. So yeah, that's all.
And what is your personal background? What is it that brought you to doing this?
Okay, so I come from the engineering background, and we have been working on a portable ECG machine that is again world's smallest ECG machine which we have developed. So when we saw during this COVID second wave that people and hospitals are struggling to get the ICU beds, and they're not unable to increase ICU beds massively. So that time we decided to help people, and we evolved our ECG machines into a typical ICU monitor, which can actually save millions of lives during the pandemic.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rajat, for SumFox Technologies. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Thanks everyone. Thanks.
Passion, determination, persistence, and fearlessness fuel the spirit of innovation. On behalf of Intel, I am happy to announce that the winner of the XTC 2021 Female Founder Award is the Live Green Company. This company is building a proprietary technology platform, Charaka, to replace not only the animal, but also the synthetic and ultra-processed ingredients in our food with 100% natural, functional, and sustainable plant alternatives. The Live Green Company is reimagining in great scale our food on the shelves of supermarkets to disrupt the way the world eats. Congratulations to the Live Green Company. And now, enjoy the pitch.
Hi, I'm Priyanka, the founder at the Live Green Company. We all know our world is in a race against time. By 2050, we have 10 billion mouths to feed with limited resources. The last decade was removing the animal from our foods, but now it's about removing the synthetic and ultra-processed additives because 67% of our diets today, including the plant-based ones, have these. We should also look at product life cycles in a more sustainable and holistic manner and disrupt the industry at scale by overcoming industry barriers of high capital and time. So at the Live Green Co., we are building Charaka, a technology platform that blends ancestral wisdom of plant nutrition with biotechnology and machine learning. And it helps us reimagine every food item in the supermarket aisle using technology at scale by using the 450,000 plants that nature has to offer. Using Charaka's databases of 15,000 plants and 500,000 compounds, we successfully replaced the additives, the milk and eggs in ice creams and launched the world's cleanest ice creams in just 90 days with $15,000 spent. They are delicious. We want to be large-scale change agents by collaborating and not competing, and we license our product formulations to retailers and food manufacturers globally. And we ask for a powered by Charaka seal on the back of their packages. This is a $180 billion opportunity which focuses on flexitarians, which is 42% of the world's population. We have done an external validation of our technology with Sigma Alimentos, the biggest food manufacturer of Mexico. We also proved the commercial viability of Characa by launching product lines in Chile, our test market. We have grown 8x and we have a client pipeline of $10 million with extreme high capital efficiencies. And all this is because of our globally successful team of scientists, engineers, and hustlers. I am a master's in retail. My co-founder Sasikant is an honors engineer. We are united by the vision to disrupt the way the world consumes. So let's live green and let's start now. Thank you.
Welcome back. And nice presentation, Priyanka. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Great. Let's go to Bill for the first question.
Yeah, Priyanka, I can't wait to try your products. I try Oatly ice cream and things like, in alternative things. You guys are, I guess, an AI engine to try, combinations of all those different things. How scalable is what you do in terms of when you work with other brands? How rapidly can you develop things for them? Is it custom or is it easily repeatable? And when do you think you'll start to expand into some very large consumer markets as opposed to the ones that you're in today?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Bill. With respect to, as we started as a bootstrapping company and then raised our seed round, we wanted to be very sensitive about the data that we approach and the products that we launch in the market. And that's the reason why we went segment by segment. We started with alternative protein when we were doing a pilot with the biggest manufacturer in Mexico. Then we wanted to enter the alternative dairy, and that's why we launched the ice cream. And as we move in our funding journey, as well as we expand Characa's database, we can go into different consumer products. And with respect to the business model, as we do not want to build our own brand as a CPG brand, we see at any point of time, we can work with multiple partners. Say we could work with a Coca-Cola on a different product line. We could work with, say, a Target on a different product line. And that's the way we scale and grow.
Thank you.
And one other thing I would like to add on is, other than food, Characa as a technology over a period of time could also be scaled to consumer products like beauty, cosmetics, and home cleaning as well. But at this point of time, our focus is only food.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, over to you, Michael.
Hi, congratulations for winning your category, and it's really exciting what you're doing. I understand that you're basically proposing to replace certain ingredients with more natural ingredients, and I'm wondering if there is a trade-off involved in that too. In other words, is it more expensive to use the natural ingredients that you recommend, and how do you think about manufacturers pricing or passing on this incremental cost to consumers?
So that's a great question, Michael. When we deal with natural ingredients and alternatives, yes, pricing is always a challenge. And also procuring ingredients at scale is a challenge. And that's the reason why at Live Green Co, we are very, very conscious that the partners that we have today have been extremely open, that there are specific categories where consumers are open to pay a price premium. And also the manufacturers and the retailers are ready to pay a price premium because consumers are demanding for cleaner products. And there are categories that are more cost, I would say, sensitive. And those are the categories that we want to go in later. With respect to procuring at a reasonable cost, which is profitable, we are looking for partnerships with ingredient companies that can help us with large-scale procurement and thereby help with cost reduction. And that is something that we are already doing. In our pilot that we did with a big manufacturer, the cost of the alternatives that Live Green Co provided using Characa was 20 cents higher. It did not seem as much for a startup, but we understand it is a different call when it comes to the food manufacturer, and they were open because of the product that we were tackling. But over a period of time, we do see that we should be able to achieve a good cost optimization.
And then your own business model, how do you get compensated? Does the manufacturer of the product pay you basically a license fee to have access to the database and the recommendations and maybe some of the supply chain insights? Or how does your customer get value from your service?
Sure. So with respect to the value of our service, we provide them a formulation, and in the formulation, we sell them a black box, which is the nucleus to the formulation. So think of, say we are selling an alternative milk substitute, we will sell them a black box. And like Coca-Cola makes a premium of the ingredient, we make a premium on selling that black box. Other than that, we do have a licensing fee where we get royalty on every unit sold. And this is a deal that we already closed with one of our manufacturers in Mexico.
Thank you, Priyanka. It's very, very good.
Thank you, Priyanka. Congratulations, Priyanka from the Live Green Co.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Have a great day, everyone.
My name is Eric Buyatois, and I'm a general partner at BGV. BGV invests in AI and enterprise 4.0 technology companies from all around the world. We are very proud to partner with Samsung, NXP, ARM, Tech Mahindra, and the Global Corporate Venturing Organization in sponsoring the very first Ethical AI Award. We are working together to raise a platform for a broader conversation around AI and ethics. And today, the whole team is very excited to announce the winner of the XTC 2021 Ethical AI Award, Waytalk. Waytalk has developed an AI-powered digital assistant that monitors individual mental health, identifies potential concerns, and recommends resources accordingly within the corporate framework. The Waytalk digital assistant has been used by several large corporations and detected more than 200,000 health risks and prevented thousands of hospitalizations, improving patient outcome while saving healthcare resources. Again, all our congratulations to Waytalk.
Hi there, my name is Michael Capps, and I'm the founder of Vitalk, based out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Now, mental health care disorders are an epidemic in Latin America. They could affect your daughter, your colleague at work. The problem is therapy is for the rich, with 4 sessions costing half of a minimum wage in the region. And the reason for that is because therapy is really inefficient. It's not data-driven, and a therapist can only see one patient at a time. Now, Vitalk tries to use AI-powered chatbots to help augment the traditional therapeutic process. So here is Vicky. Meet her. She's our virtual mental health care assistant, and she helps users through the entire therapeutic process, from pre-diagnosis to matching with a therapist, to monitoring the patient's symptoms over time, and even allows the therapist to prescribe hundreds of bot-led exercises, mental health care exercises that the patient can do on their own time, as well as providing key data for the therapist to make their decisions during the treatment. Now, the result is that a therapist can now treat 4 patients in the same time that they were able to treat 1 patient, and this is reflected in the price. We've been able to decrease the price of therapy by up to 4 times. Patients love this hybrid approach. They spend on average 3 hours on our app every single month, and the retention rates are very, very high, 70%, even higher than traditional therapy. Now, we even have studies that show that this hybrid bot-led approach is just as effective as traditional therapy in light and moderate cases of anxiety and depression. As more patients are onboarded onto our system, the bots and algorithms improve, the therapists become more effective, and this further drives down the price, which draws on even more patients. We currently operate a B2B SaaS platform for employers. Since we launched 18 months ago, we've gotten about 50 clients, and we are now covering more than 200,000 lives. There are many unicorns in the United States doing mental health care. Vitalk wants to be Latin America's first digital therapeutic. So let's make mental health care more affordable.
Hello, I'm Darren Shuchuk, and I'm the Vice President of Public Affairs and Communications at Harman. We are very proud to be a partner to the Extreme Tech Challenge and to have the opportunity to mentor and support these outstanding startups that are changing the world through technological innovation. It is my distinct pleasure to announce that the winner of the XTC 2021 People's Choice Award is PathGen Diagnostic Technology. PathGen is disrupting the molecular diagnostic market for cancer through inclusive, robust, and affordable platforms. In doing so, this company is seeking to democratize precision medicine, particularly in developing countries, and enabling molecular diagnostics for all. Congratulations to the PathGen team for their many achievements. Now, please enjoy their pitch.
Hi, I'm Santi, CEO and founder of PathGen. We are providing low-cost PCR and digital pathology-based molecular diagnostic for cancer. I'm a cancer researcher, globally trained in Indonesia, Australia, and the UK, and I'm also a cancer survivor. Thus, I understand firsthand that there is an urgent need for cancer genetic tests in developing countries, despite the emerging or even overcrowded market in more developed countries, especially in the West. PathGen is filling this gap by offering inclusive products for guiding therapy, detecting familiar risk, and predicting prognosis. Our products include the PCR-based test Colomel and PulmoAmDX for colorectal and lung cancer, and later FUMI, the disruptive artificial intelligence-assisted digital pathology platform. Our solution would impact more than 72,000 patients per year in Indonesia alone, which is about 1/5 of the cases in the USA. We aim for 70% of Indonesian market by inclusion into Indonesia universal health coverage and 20% of remaining developing countries market. Developing countries have huge market size, and affordability is the key for penetration. We are offering at least 5 times cheaper product with 100% concordance with current reference method. As only 1-year-old company, we have managed to secure agreement with Indonesian government for early implementation of Colomel DX at Indonesian National Cancer Center later this year, followed by commercialization as in vitro diagnostic test in early 2020 in collaboration with Bio Farma, Indonesia's state-owned biotech company, one of the largest in Southeast Asia. The team is supported by young and driven talents, as well as world-leading advisors. We are looking for $1 million seed funding for developing the automatic system for global market differentiation and wider reach. Please join us, because if you talk about tech for good, then you'll be talking about PathGen. Thank you.
Great, welcome Susanti, and congratulations for winning the inaugural People's Choice Award.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Thank you for having me.
Okay, awesome. I want to turn to Michael for the first question.
Well, first, I just want to say the same, Susanti. Congratulations. The People's Choice Award is probably the most special award, and so it's so deserved in your hand, and you have such a compelling life story, and your dedication is just remarkable. It's an example for all of us. So bravo and congratulations. And my question is, your test, I understand right now the test is for colon and lung cancers. Can you explain, I'm a layman, can you explain whether that test can be used for other types of cancers, or why you picked these two? Is this a start, and will there be different kinds of tests? Be very helpful to understand better.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Michael, for your appreciation and obviously the questions. Right now, indeed, we're focusing more on lung and colon cancer first and then lung, because these are the top 3 most common cancer in many parts of the world, even in the West, but also in Indonesia and other developing countries. So we see that this is will be the good entry point for our product. And with regard to technology, so we are using the existing platform, which is PCR. And now, because but I mean, due to COVID, everyone knows what PCR is. And most importantly, in the developing country, the PCR machine and system widely available right now. So we develop our test based on the PCR instead of going to next generation sequencing that currently maybe become the trend in the West. So we're using the existing platform, but with our world-leading expertise, we managed to come up with the PCR protocol with certain proprietary that make our PCR test comparable with the reference method, current reference method, including sequencing.
So how we do it is we testing this instead of testing lots of gene like what NGS do. We're focusing on the targeted of small panel of gene, but with the value with the translated values for clinical intervention. So we don't need some at this in clinical implementation, you don't need all the genetic information that perhaps NGS produce, but we focus more on what genetic information required to improve the management, such as to guide for the therapy and to predict if there is an inherited disease going on within the patient family. So I hope that's answer your question.
Wonderful.
And whether we're going to develop more tests for other cancer, yes, absolutely. Using our expertise in the genetic and all the field and this and other related area, we're going to surely develop a genetic test for different cancer. After lung, we're looking at the nasopharyngeal cancer, which is quite endemic in Asia. But and again, this is very unique niche that not many genetic tests or competitors are looking at for now.
Thank you so much, Susanti.
It's very interesting indeed. Over to you, Bill.
Yeah, you mentioned at the end that you were going to try to do, or you're moving to automation, not trying, but you will automate. PCR testing, I'm not an expert in this area, but it seems to me to be kind of a labor-intensive thing where there's a lot of manual lab procedures. What can you do to make this highly replicable and scalable by automating across the the multitude of tests that you're going to do across different kinds of cancers?
Yeah. So indeed, you are right. For now, the PCR reaction can be considered laborious, but so it involves stages of pipetting. So that's what considered laborious. But in terms of scalable and consistency, the PCR test, even like for COVID, is quite consistent. But it's just indeed you need there's a labors in terms of lab work. We're looking for funding for set up more automatic way, which is we kind of want to build our own PCR machine, if you want to describe. I think we can simplify it that way. So we want to have our own PCR machine that instead of open like the other PCR machine, but it's tailored to the protocol that we develop. So what we will have is we will minimize the pipetting process, and then what we will have is a system that only required initial pipetting in the beginning, for example, and then we got the result at the end. So it's end-to-end product. But obviously, we want to keep the cost still competitive enough for global market, but also can be used in developing country if they choose to go to the more automatic way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very interesting point. Headed over to Lars for the last question.
Yeah, Susanti, very, very exciting approach, technology, and of course also goal. How do you defend yourself against the big pharmaceutical gorillas that might come in and try to steal your thunder? What is your secret sauce to do that?
Yeah, I know. This is, like I said, in the West especially, it's very overcrowded market. But as a cancer patient myself from developing country, I really understand that even though there's so many gorillas, somehow it not translate well in developing countries. So that's why I at the time could not get my test done. I think that's the most unique niche that we have, because we supported by world leading experts, but I also have the perspective of being a patient in the local setting, and we know our market well, if you want to say that way. And that's why within a year we got an agreement with the Indonesian government, because there is indeed really a huge unmet needs for this. And yes, maybe later on
the gorillas will look at our market and say, okay, we can drop the price as well, and then it will be huge challenge for us. But hopefully, by that time, we can, through our innovation as well, we can be a strong competitor.
Okay, thank you. Very clear.
Great, thank you. It's been our pleasure, Susanti from PathGen Diagnostic Technologies, and I want to thank all the presenters today.
Thank you to all the startups from the world that applied to this year's Extreme Tech Challenge competition. It's been a great year with over 3,700 applications from almost 100 countries. Congratulations to all of 80 global finalists, and special congratulations to our category and special award winners as well. So I want to recap 2021 category winners. In AgTech and Food Tech, we had the Wasteless from Israel. In Clean Tech and Energy, there were Mining and Process Solutions Australia. In EdTech, we had the Testmaster from Israel. In Enabling Tech, there was Daring from South Korea. In FinTech, Hillrich Technology of Australia. In Health Tech, we have Genetica of Israel. And in Mobility and Smart Cities, we had a Photokite of Switzerland. This year's special award winner were for COVID-19 innovation, Sunfox of India. The female founder award went to the Live Green Cow of Chile. The Ethical AI award was given to Bitech of Brazil. And the People's Choice Award went to PathGen Diagnostic Technology of Indonesia. Each of you are winners in your own right, and you should be incredibly proud of your accomplishments. Picking one global winner from such an impressive batch of startups were not easy. In fact, we had long deliberations trying to figure out how to pick the right winners based on leadership, entrepreneurship, transformative technology, innovation, and extent of impact that has on our lives. Each startup had to do with while delivering on a promise to create a business opportunity that the capital markets are rewarding. So I will make it short. This year, we have 2 winners rather than 1 winner. So I would like to congratulate Hillrich of Australia and Dot Inc. of Korea. So with that note, let me congratulate both of you and introduce the CEO of Hillrich and Dot Inc.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much. We're so excited. I want to thank the Extreme Tech Challenge. Thank you for providing us with a platform. It's so important for us here in Australia, especially as we grow internationally. I'd like to thank the other finalists. It's been so inspirational speaking and hearing the stories of other founders who are all making a positive impact on the world around us. I'd like to thank our investors, especially Artesian Venture Partners, who's believed in us from the beginning, our wonderful angel investors, Cater Innovations and the Grow Lab Accelerator Program, and Haymarket HQ. My co-founder, DaiQ, I couldn't have done this without you. Thank you so much. Our employees, Chunying, Faye, Robin, Tony, Jayesh, our long-suffering partners and families. Finally, climate change is such a challenge for farmers, for the communities they live and work in, and for our food supply chain. So again, I just want to thank the Extreme Tech Challenge for providing us with a platform to help us make a difference in the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is a huge honor for all of our DOT team, and just meeting legendary entrepreneurs and investors, Yang Son, Bill Tai, Jerry Yang, Regina Michael, and Lars is just an amazing experience since they are my role models. First of all, thanks to God who led us from the beginning. When we started this company in the college, no one actually believed that we can make this technology possible. From at the very beginning, our goal is same until now, change the life of this generation. We wanted to give STEM educations and more diverse entertainment and jobs possible for the 285 million visually impaired people. We felt our Startup Dots mission as our duty that needs to be done in this generation. Every time we see children who are using our technology with very happy face, it is the most satisfying feelings as a social impact entrepreneur. XTC is our turning point. We really would like to raise funding from global investors and have more global impact together. Thank you again for this opportunity. Thank you for making XTC to make better future. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoy the program today and feel excited and inspired to get involved in supporting purpose-driven startups building a radically better world. Thanks to all the startups who applied to XTC 2021. You opened up our eyes to the incredible, meaningful contributions you're making in your respective domains. And congratulations to all 80 global finalists. You're all winners in your own right, and you have inspired us to imagine what's possible. And a special congratulations to the category winners, the special awards winners, and of course, the overall global winner of XTC 2021. Extreme Tech Challenge is the world's largest marketplace for purpose-driven startups, and 2021 has set a new record for the number of game-changing companies coming out of our ecosystem. As we wrap up XTC 2021, we're also officially kicking off the 2022 season. As announced earlier, we're going to be launching a number of new regional competitions to expand our footprint in some of the most exciting tech innovations in the world. This fall, we're going to be launching XTC Switzerland, XTC Netherlands, a new track for the historically Black colleges and universities, and of course our partnership with the United Nations on the World Food Forum. Head to our website for more information about how you can get involved. For our latest news and upcoming events, please subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on social media to get the latest alerts. If you're excited and inspired to get involved to invest in and support purpose-driven entrepreneurs, please join us. If you're a startup, apply to XTC. If you're an investor, back our companies. If you're a large corporation, invest in our companies, work with them to help scale their impact, and join XTC as a sponsor. If you're a philanthropist, support our mission to democratize opportunities across boundaries. If you're a university administrator, consider joining XTC by standing up a regional competition and provide more access to your entrepreneurs. If you're a policymaker, we just might have the tech solutions you're looking for to build a sustainable, healthy, and prosperous society. I'd love to hear from you. Please drop me a note. And before we go, I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody who's been involved to make this possible. First, our partner ecosystem comprised of Fortune 500 companies, venture capital firms, universities, tech conferences, innovators, philanthropists, and policymakers. You continue to invest in and back our world-changing companies. To the XTC 2021 Evaluation Committee and Bootcamp speakers, thank you for lending us your expertise and knowledge to not only help us select the potentially market-leading companies, but also help them scale. To our founders, Young Sung and Bill Tai, your vision to catalyze the startup community is truly being realized through the Extreme Tech Challenge. And our board members, Lars Vigger and Catherine Bischoff, for your unwavering support and wisdom to help us chart the next chapter of our organization. To our senior advisors, Rajiv Rajan and Barrick Parkman, also the former founding co-managing directors of XTC. I feel incredibly blessed to carry on the torch and build on the great foundation you've laid for the organization. And a huge thanks to our wonderful event partner, TechCrunch. And last but definitely not least, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to XTC team members and volunteers for your dedication to our mission. And don't forget, you can find out more about all XTC 2021 Startup finalists and connect with the founders by visiting our website. To all of you joining from all around the world today, on behalf of everyone at the Extreme Tech Challenge, thank you. Now, please head to the virtual networking room and don't forget to swing by and check out the virtual booth of our sponsoring partners. Here's to solving the world's most pressing challenges through startups, innovation, and global partnerships.